Today, as we get rolling here, rewind to Friday for a moment. So, we had a chat about factoring by grouping and how we were going to put parentheses around each pair, and we were going to do them separately, and we were going to find the biggest number and the smallest exponent we could take out, and that our leftovers should be the same. So, I'm going to scooch this down a little. We're actually going to go to number 2 first. I'll explain my reasoning once we get done with number 1. So, here, again, colors help. It kind of keeps things separated that way. And so, we're only going to look at these one at a time. So, I'm going to kind of forget that second part here for a minute. And my job here is to get the biggest number that goes into both of those. If you know it off the top of your head, great. If you don't, this chart's at the back of your notes. And I go through and I'm like, okay, 5. They both have a 5. So that's what I'm going to take out. We're going to keep life simple. So, take out a 5. If both your terms have variables, we take the one with the smaller exponent. So, since 2 is smaller than 3, we take a 2 out. And so, to get the leftovers inside the parentheses, we're going to divide this into here. So, when we start to do this, you divide the big numbers. Maybe. And you subtract the littles. 3 minus 2 is 1. So you can put m to the first power. That one's fine. Divide the bigs. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Subtract the littles. 2 minus 2 is 0, so there's no more m needed here. So don't put an m here. Don't put m to the 0, just leave it not there. So, as we might remember back to our last time now, that just gave us a clue. When I do this same process to my red set of parentheses, I should get this back. So we'll see. What's the biggest thing going to go into 30 and 24? 6. Okay, we got 6 in both of our boxes here. So we'll take out a 6. Am I taking out an m this time? No, because this doesn't have m. So if they both don't have m, I cannot take an m out of there. So now we just divide. 30 divided by 6 is 5. There is no m for me to subtract, so I just have to keep it. Nope. And 24 divided by 6 is 4. That's the magic thing we're hoping happens. Well, it's okay. It's all good. This one I got. Thank you. So when I go to do my answer, the greatest common factors on the outside, they go together. So 5m squared plus 6. And my common set of parentheses also goes together. As long as we get that set of parentheses, we are good. Now, here's the twist that can come into this. We talked about it last time, but I want to make sure that we touch on it, is number 1. So if I do the exact same thing to number 1 here, pair them off. What's that? Ooh, now if there's an equals 0 at the end and it says solve, then we keep going. We will see that here in a bit. But for now, we're just back into mode. grabbing my chart back out. I think I can get both of them on here. I can. 16 and 40, what's the biggest number we got in common here? 8. So we'll get an 8. We both have B's this time. Smaller one. Now we're back in the division game. 40 divided by 8 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. If you want to put the 1 on your B, you can. Positive 16 divided by 8 is 2. And 2 minus 2, because we subtract the littles, is 0. We have our target for the next part now. That's what we're hoping to get out of here. And so I get to my red parentheses now, and I'm like, 5 and 2. Looks like 1's the only thing we got in common. That's fine. But we did have one chat the last time we got together. If that first number has a negative in front of it, it's usually going to be better for you if you take that out as well. And you're about to see why. Because now, when I go to do my dividing, negative 5 divided by negative 1, I get positive 5 here, which is what I wanted. The B is still here. So far, so good. Negative 2 divided by negative 1 is positive 2. If I wouldn't have taken the negative out, these wouldn't be the same. I'd have had to go fix something. So just those little things can help us quite a bit. And now I just go to put things together. Stuff on the outside, that goes together. And my common set of parentheses is the other part of my answer. Yeah. We're looking very similar to what we did before. We're not throwing a bunch of new stuff in. It's more just making sure at the start of the week that we're on top of this, because it's the second day of us seeing the grouping. Kind of lets us separate what we're looking at here. So now, to mention as to what Landon had talked about, we go a little bit further on to the back, and all of a sudden, we're like, wait a minute, solve each equation by using the graphing calculator. What? When does y equal 0? What's this? So this is kind of going rewind a little bit on us. So when we get here, we're going to plug these into y equals. So we're going to go to the calculator. This is kind of introducing us to something we're going to learn tomorrow how to do algebraically. So we're going to go to y equals. We're going to clear stuff out. The only part you are putting into the calculator, okay, is this part. We're not putting the equals 0 part in the calculator. So we're going to do our x up here next to alpha, and our squared down here, kitty corner from 7. And we're going to type in, again, just the left side of the equation. So once we do, I'm going to look at the picture for a minute, but I'm going to use the chart more than anything. So the question is then, either when does y equal 0, or when does my graph cross the x-axis? So like, if I can look at the picture and I can tell right from the picture where it's crossing at those 2 points, I can just write those 2 numbers down and I'm done. But if I'm not sure, I can go to my chart, my table, second graph, and I'm like, I don't see y equals 0. Oh. Looking for y equals 0. There's one. Oh, there's another one. That's it. No algebra. Nothing fancy. Just got to find in the chart when y equals 0 for right now and get to my answer. So even if we did one more, let's say we do 20, again, we're just going to plug this into the calculator. So I go back to y equals, clear that out. X, again, squared's right here over by the 7. Make sure your signs are correct. Everything's plus this time. I can look at the picture. Now this time I think I can tell from the graph, but we'll look at the chart too. I'm like, okay, so 1, 2, -3, maybe? -4, -5, -6, -7, maybe? Because I'm just looking at those 2 points it crosses the axis. Second graph, if I look at the chart, let's see. -3, there's my y equals 0, okay. -7, there's my y equals 0. Those are my 2 answers. And I've got that set. So even the calculator can help us at points. Not so much with the grouping ones up here, but with those for sure. So reminders. Play with some of these. The keys are on Classroom or up front. I got a key up here as well. Also, maybe, there we go. Over here in the stream, here are the notes that are completely updated. So if you need to update your notes, you missed a day or you were kind of out of it that day and not doing things, get those updated. So when we do get to the quiz later this week, we can have you ready and raring to go with that. So let me get this back up before I honestly would say if you are in